Good day everyone, I am Mr. Ace Joshua C. Abella and I'm here to discuss about relationships between angles. So before we proceed with our topic, I need you to have this following set of skills. So you need to have familiarity with the basic geometrical definitions and terms and also about angles. If you have this set of skills, then you're good to go. So let us first have our geometrical definitions. So first is about supplementary angles. So supplementary angles are angles whose measures have a sum of 180. So here is an example of a supplementary angle. So we have angle A, which is 110, and angle B, which is 70 degrees. And if we combine the two angles, they form 180 degree angle. So that is a supplementary angle. So next we have complementary angles. Complementary angles are angles whose measures have a sum of 90 degrees. So here is an example of a complementary angle or complementary angles. So if A is 20 degrees and B is 70 degrees, and if we combine the two angles, they form 90 degrees. So that is an example of complementary angles. So next is congruent angles. So it states that two angles whose measures are equal. So here are examples of congruent angles. So we have these two, A and A is congruent to A, and B is congruent to B since they have the same measure, and also C is congruent to C since they also have the same measure. So next is vertical angles. So vertical angles are angles formed by intersecting lines and facing in the opposite direction. So here is an illustration of vertical angles. So we have two intersecting lines. So therefore A and C are vertical angles because these angles are opposite to each other. Also B and D are vertical angles since they are opposite to each other. Also vertical angles have the same measure. So therefore A and C are equal and B and D are also equal. That is for vertical angles. So next we have adjacent angles. So adjacent angles are angles that share a common side and have the same vertex but have no interior points in common. So here is an illustration of an adjacent angle. So we have angle A and angle B. So if we plot any point inside A and B, it will not share. So the point will not be in angle B if we plot a point in A, and also if we plot a point in B, it will not be in angle A. So that is an example of adjacent angles. They are adjacent. So and also they share the same vertex. So that is about adjacent angles. So next we have linear pair. Two adjacent angles that have their non-common sides on opposite rays forming 180 degrees. So here is an illustration of a linear pair. So we have the first angle, which is in red, and also the second angle, which is in blue. They form linear pair because if they are combined, they form 180 degrees. Linear pair is also associated with supplementary angles since they also form 180 degrees. Next is perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines are two intersecting lines that form right angles. So here is an illustration. So we have this line, the vertical line, and then the horizontal line, and then they have an intersection and they form an angle that has a measure of 90 degrees. So that is perpendicular lines. Next is parallel lines. Parallel lines are lines that do not meet or intersect each other at any point. So here is an illustration of parallel lines. these two lines are parallel. Even if you extend these lines up to infinite, they will never ever meet. That is the definition of a parallel line or parallel lines. So let's proceed to our sample activity. So we have our sample problem. So in the figure below, line AB or segment AB or ray AB and ray CD intersect at E. Therefore, segment EF is perpendicular to segment CD. Angle AEF is equal to 70 degrees and angle DEB is equal to 20 degrees. So use the information to answer the following. So first is we have to name all the pairs of vertical angles. Second is to name all the right angles. Third is to name all the linear pairs. And fourth is to name angles that are complementary. And five, name angles that are supplementary. So let us proceed to our first question, or number 1. So we have to name all pairs of vertical angles. So what is a vertical angle? So vertical angles are formed by two intersecting lines. So we have two lines intersecting each other. We have line AB and line CD. So therefore we have an intersection between them. So the angles that are forms a vertical angle. So we have angle AED and BEC are vertical angles, and since they are opposite to each other. Also, angle AEC and BED are vertical angles since they are opposite to each other. So that is the pair of vertical angles. So next, number 2 is to name all right angles. So in our sample problem, it states that EF is perpendicular to CD. Therefore, if two lines are perpendicular to each other, they form right angles. So therefore, our answer will be angle FED and FEC are right angles. So that is all. So these perpendicular lines form right angles. So number 3 is to name all the linear pairs. So what is a linear pair? A linear pair is, another definition of linear pair is two adjacent angles that form 180 degrees, or two consecutive angles forming 180 degrees. So in our illustration, we can see that there are many linear pairs. So we have angle FEC and angle FED are linear pair because they form 180 degrees. Also, FEA and FEB are linear pair because they form 180 degrees. Also, DEA and DEB are linear pair since they form 180 degrees. Angle AEC and angle AED are linear pair because they also form 180 degrees. So next is we have to name angles that are complementary. So what are complementary angles? Complementary angles are angles whose sum equals to 90 degrees. So can you see any angles that if you have to get their sum has a value of 90 degrees? So the answer is we have angle FEA and angle AEC are complementary angles. Why? Because AEC is equal to DEB since they are vertical angles. So therefore, AEC is 20. So 70 plus 20 is 90 degrees. So they are complementary angles. So next, FEA and DEB are complementary angles. So 70 and 20, that is equal to 90 degrees. So number 5 is to name angles that are supplementary. So since we already answered angles that are linear pair, Therefore, the angles that are a linear pair are also angles that are supplementary. So we have angle FEC and FED are supplementary angles. Angle FEA and FEB are supplementary angles. Angle DEA and DEB are supplementary angles, and also angle AEC and angle AED are supplementary angles. So that is all for our lesson. So if you like my tutorial, click thumbs up and subscribe. Follow me at fb.com, ajoshua.abella, and Instagram at alabace. Thank you.